Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Lion Athletics. We get to see what's going on inside the department, all the teams in action, some of them getting ready to be in action. And one of those is our first guest, Clint Dolezel, head coach of your East Texas A&M Lions. Spring football coach, it's going by really quick. You got your spring game coming up just a couple of days.
Yeah, it's gone. I mean, we have a little walkthrough tomorrow, Friday, and then Saturday is the spring game. Uh, we're gonna be smart with that. There's a lot of different. We've talked about that off the air about what spring ball looks like, what a spring game looks like now. It won't look like last year's, but we just want to make sure we're coming out of this thing healthy. We're sick of looking at each other right now. When you go against each other, offense and defense, that's my only hatred of spring ball is it almost turns you against each other because it is that competitive, where it's offense against defense. And, I want us to start pushing to the goal of it's East Texas, it's Lions, we're together here. So there's been a lot of, I took them off the field early yesterday. I really didn't take them off. They just ran for the last 25 minutes because all they wanted to do was fight. But that's not always a bad thing either. There's competitiveness going on there, and everybody wants to, do well.
Talk a little bit about some of those competitive battles in camp. Everybody says, well, who's going to be our quarterback? Well, Ron Peace looked pretty good towards the end of the year. We could see the progress and the improvement. How's he been in camp? And he's not the only quarterback we have.
No, he's not. He's doing well. It's Ron's position right now. He's earned it. He earned it from the end of the season. He's earned it through spring ball. He's stacking days together, which we talked again off the air. Last year, he just couldn't put back-to-back games together. He's stacking, practices together. Need to keep stacking them. We need 3 or 4 good ones in a row. And, we talked about he can't have those horrible, days. We need him to have his off days or, just not as high as completion, those type things versus turnovers. So I'm doing well there. Really got a good battle at running back going, honestly. We've got a really good running core. So we're excited about that. We're pretty beat up, which isn't, you hear that and you think that's a bad thing, but we needed to look at some guys, especially on the offensive side. Got a chance to look at some other guys that, are battling for starting jobs versus, ones and twos, which is good competition. Defensively, really got some good transfers in. Gillespie and Miles at cornerback, we feel great about those guys. Hated to lose our seniors, but you got to fill some roles, and they've come and stepped in and done nicely for us. Levon is our rock and glue over there in the secondary at safety. He's had a great spring ball. He's had to move to basically max position at free safety versus the backside safety. It's a lot. And so he's had some busts here and there, but man, he's solid. And we know he's going to be there for us. And he's a good tackler. He's a good man-to-man coverage, which, running an odd defense. We're running a lot of different blitzes, a lot of different looks, bringing 5 different ways, bringing 6 at times. And that's asked a lot of our secondary. And we're pleased with where we're at there. We need a little more depth at those positions. Defensive line, same issue. We need to go get some more depth. We need that nose guard to cause problems. If you're going to play an odd front and you got a nose, he's got to eat up offensive linemen. He's got to cause problems with penetration. We need to go find 1 or 2 of those guys, at least 2. Feel really good about our linebacking crew. With exception of obviously losing B-Tuck. The Kyrie's really stepped up and done a good job in that position. Kobe King has done a great job at linebacker, so we're pleased with that. Our defense is always, Coach Tyler does a good job of giving those guys and putting them in position to be successful, and we cause a lot of problems with different looks.
Coach, I know guys, they come into spring camp, especially guys that hadn't played a lot before, and they're like, here's where I can get my move up. But then you get some guys that show up as walk-ons, and this is the first time you guys have really seen them on the field. Who's opening eyes?
Hyman Drinkard. I mean, he comes first to mind for sure. He's a running back that's come in and, a walk-on has quickly earned a scholarship.
Wow.
He doesn't have it in hand yet, but he's getting one. He's that good of a player. Feel really good about our running back group. Got a couple guys still recovering from injury. KJ got dinged up. He's going to be out for a little bit, but have him back for the summer. Obviously, EJ Oatman still coming back from an ACL injury.
Mm-hmm.
So feel really good about that. And got some young players behind them that are pushing really deep there. Receiver, most of those guys are come back. We've added a few as well to role players. We're going to get Paul Odidi, who didn't get a chance to play a snap for us last year, back for a 7th year. Got Christian, who is an all-conference player. Jordan back for another season, which we didn't think we were going to get. So feel really good about our skill group on the offensive side. I really believe that, and really deep there too. So we've got some guys, if we do have some bumps and bruises and we need to do some rotation, we have those guys. So I feel good about that.
All right, you're an old quarterback coach, so nobody better to tell me how's that offensive line looking. Are they
Good,
do they have all the protection, and how deep is it?
And that's kind of what I mentioned about those injuries. We have some injuries on the offensive line
Mm-hmm.
because we did some pretty good job of recruiting. We've got some guys to step in and be able to push and show those guys, okay, the best thing for a head coach is what I tell them. The number one thing for a head coach is availability. I need you to be able to be on the field when I need you. And if you're hurt and the next guy is up and he comes in and does well, you know, that's a good problem to have for us if we got a little bit of depth. I feel really good about 8 or 9 offensive linemen we have that
Mm-hmm.
any of those guys could get in there and play, which is, not usual to say. The problem is there are a lot of guards. It's hard to find offensive tackles. Jaden Jones has been out all spring, so he
Mm-hmm.
hadn't played at all. We've run the ball well. We're averaging over 4 yards a run, which is good. So we're excited about that, and we're missing probably 3 to 4 guys. We just got goodness, Ike back, who
Mm-hmm.
a good looking body and has learned got another year out of him. Didn't think we were going to get that. So we would be bigger, stronger on the offensive line this year, and hopefully can run the ball. And, if you can run the ball, you can do anything. The pass, our really, late in that season last year, our play action pass was good. And
Mm-hmm. It
that's just average running, that add really good running on top of that. You really bring those safeties down, you can hit some home runs, and we've hit some in camp now.
very good. Coach, anything you want to tell Lion fans ahead of the activity on Saturday? What should they expect to see?
Yeah, we'll put a little show on. Our first half will be more of one-on-ones to see what we got. Referees, out there with that, showing holds, showing pass protection, showing hands to face. We want to take that out of our game. Our number one goal this year is to cut our penalties out. We had too many penalties last year, so we've really harped on that. Taking care of the football. We want to show our quarterbacks that we've done a good job in the spring for the most part of taking care of the football on the offensive side, and just put a good show on. Second half will be more of what you expect from a spring game. Live drives, but it's not long. It's only 20 minutes, and we want to get a look at some guys. So you won't see a lot of starters during that. You'll see some, but we want to get a look at some of these guys that potentially maybe getting in the portal that we want to ask get in the portal. We want to see some guys that we're still not sure what they do in live action. So it'll be that for the most part in the second half, and it'll be a good day for us. We have a lot of people on campus. We're over almost close to 700, junior day for us.
Wow, Coach, that's great.
It is. It's
Congratulations.
Great atmosphere for everyone a part of that. The Pikes are coming back. They're having a crawfish boil. It's going to be a good day. We're going to have 4 or 5 food trucks out there. Really good day. Got softball, soccer going on. Great day to be a Lion on Saturday.
All right, man. That it is. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon on campus. Go Lions.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right, that's Clint Dolezel, head coach of your football team. We've got more coming up. Stick around. I think we're going to talk golf next. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We've got more Inside Lion Athletics. Here's Brian Dolehide to tell us how the women's golf team did at Trinity Forest. Little windy, a little chilly. How was it? It was probably a lot wet.
It was It was a bit chilly in the practice round and obviously in the mornings, but warmed up throughout the day. It wasn't our best event, but we were able to learn a lot from it, and um, just got to keep moving forward and get ready to work for conference this weekend.
Outstanding stuff. It is coming up. Man, it's loading up big. Is it just going to be the women or the men and the women having conference play at the same time?
So the girls, they have conference this weekend, and the guys are going to Arkansas State for a
Okay.
tournament, just kind of to prepare for conference. On the guys' side, we haven't had a competitive event in about a month. So I think this is a great lead up for conference, which is next weekend. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the guys are really looking forward to competing again. And then, the girls are wrapping up their season this weekend.
How was the course down there? Trinity Forest. It was there. There was no such thing as a golf course out there for a long, long time.
Right.
And all I've heard out of you and some of the others that have been there is it's a really special place.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I believe they opened up in 2014, and I mean, it's like a golf course you've never seen out in Texas. There's no trees out there, so you feel all that wind, and the greens are massive. The course is just so pure. It was great to be out there. It wasn't our best week, but we learned a lot from it, and we're going to be able to take that into this weekend.
So when you talked about the competitive field at this, it was an event hosted by SMU. They probably had some of their Tony P4 Power Four conference friends, right?
That's right. Yeah, I remember Oklahoma State was there, Houston, Texas Tech, a bunch of the Power Four schools were out there. So it was good to be able to compete with them and see how we matched up against them.
All right. Well, so how many other conference teams made that event?
There were two other conference teams, Incarnate Word and Lamar were out there. We we beat Lamar, and then we lost to Incarnate Word. So looking to looking to catch up on them this weekend.
All right, with the rest of the conference, everybody in one house. Where's the tournament, and how do you expect it to go?
We're going down to Kissing Tree in San Marcos, so um, about a 4 or 5 hour drive. I we took second place last year. We lost to Augusta, and I think we've been able to, like I was saying, we've been able to learn a little bit from this past tournament. When you get kicked in the behind, on the greens and around the golf course, it really puts a lot into perspective. And um, I think that'll really help us this weekend.
Hmm.
And, we're just putting in some work these next couple of days before we head out on Saturday. And, I'm always expecting great things from these girls and guys. So, really happy to be getting out down south and, potentially bring home a trophy.
Okay, well, if you just can't stand it, Black's Barbecue is the one you want to look for in San Marcos.
Okay.
You'll
Got
be
it.
well fed, man.
Oh, I'm looking forward to some barbecue down there. That's for sure.
So the guys' tournament next week, where will it be?
We're playing out at Comanche Trace again for conference, but this weekend the guys are playing up at Ridge Point, which is actually a golf course we played in the fall, uh,
Hmm.
this past fall. So almost all the guys who are playing in it this week played in the fall as well. So they know the course pretty well, and I don't think the weather will be too bad up in Arkansas. So
Right.
should be a good week for them as well.
Okay. All right. So there's all the lion golf we can catch up on. Love the hat, man. Why not wear it? It is the opening day of the Masters tournament. And you got to tell us two of your favorite Masters stories.
Well, my favorite master story, which I don't remember exactly, but it was 1997. the Thursday where Tiger Woods, I believe, shot 40-30, 40 on the front nine and 30 on the back. And I was also born that day. So that's pretty cool to look back at.
There's your destiny.
It's a really memorable day in golf in general. And then I would say 2019 when Tiger, came back to glory and won the Masters. Hopefully he's not done yet.
So is he aware that you two are connected in that way, Coach?
I'm sure he is,
Oh, okay. Annual birthday cards, signed golf balls, things like that.
I wish I would do anything for that.
All right, man. Great stuff. Hey, thanks a lot. Enjoy the golf today, both on at the Masters and on your squads. We'll see you next time. Good luck with the women this weekend at the conference.
Thanks a lot.
All right, folks, we're going to line up again for a minute. Stick around. We've got more coming your way after this. Hey, everybody, welcome back to some more of Inside Lion Athletics. I'm Charlie Chitwood. We are joined now by George Pincock, head coach of the Lion track program. And it was another busy week. Coach, your guys and gals got to enjoy the cool breeze out in San Angelo this weekend. It was dry for you, wasn't it? But it was awfully windy and cold.
It rained for a little portion. Not often it rains out there, and it wasn't much, but it was a mist. So the mist was coming down sideways, and we were trying not to blow away.
Well, when that wind's out there like that, it helps you in certain races. In others, it just kind of knocks any advantage to zero. And then in others, it's just a grind to get from one end of the track to the other.
Yeah, I always like a nice tailwind. Some events, a nice headwind in the throws. But I also like the temperature to be in the 80s or 90s when it's blowing like that. So when it's just barely 50 and blowing, it makes for a tough, long weekend.
Everybody. So how do y'all manage that? Do they start bringing like little pop-up tents, the kind that they get into instead of just shelter?
We had a pop-up tent, but it didn't do much but keep us dry from the mist. That's about all it did. So just cold, long day. Not often.
All right. Well, one of your athletes did rather well in the heptathlon. Tell us a little bit how that was, second best time and or score in Lion track and field women's history. That's pretty big stuff. Did I hear that?
A really good, solid competition out of Magdalene Campo. Someone who, has been training well, and we've kind of seen things building, but she came out on fire last week. Day one, 4 events, 4 PRs in day one, and then backed it up with, I believe, 2 PRs on day 2. So just good to see that. I think there's a lot left, not only from her, but that entire event group as we continue through the season.
Going out to San Angelo, you probably ran into a few of our old Lone Star Conference neighbors. How was that reunion?
Oh, it was good. The coach at San Angelo, he was here before me as the coach for a couple years. So
he's still there. Okay,
still there.
His name escaped, but the face just popped up.
And again, I think that's why we went out there, just to kind of see some of those old faces. We used to go out there a lot for competition and know that it can be a really good track meet. But always fun to see them. Fun to see how that conference and those universities have grown and how we've grown in our transition, and just where we're at.
Okay, so the next couple of weeks, you got one big meet and then a lot of little meets in a short period of time. Let's talk about the one down in College Station next week, though. How cool is that?
I love going down there. A world-class facility with good weather for sure this week. Great competition flying in from all over, all over the United States this week. One of the major meets. Fortunate to get the opportunity to go down and partake of it. And then next week gets really busy for us. Go ahead.
California, 4 meets in 3 days. How are you going to pull that off?
I'm not going to. I'm just going to make sure it's well planned. I'm going to stay back and work the high school UIL championship that's here. But, one of our assistant coaches will go. We'll have some really good team meetings just about logistics and make sure we know what's going on, and make sure we have a bus driver that is aware of those logistics as well, and prepare ourselves for LA traffic.
Oh gosh, that just put me under the bus. Get it over with.
You heard
Is there any place else, any place worse for just general traffic when y'all are out and about going to some of the higher profile venues?
right now I-30.
Oh gosh, yeah,
Yes,
true.
yeah, again, but it's worth it to get out there, for some of the distance events. World class, world class competition out there. Uh, we'll probably see every single school in the Southland will have at least a group of athletes competing out there. People from, bring groups down from Minnesota. And I think the lure is that, yes, it's LA, but it's manageable to be at 4 meets in 3 days. It's manageable to be at 2 of those meets in the same day.
Right.
Weather's all but guaranteed, knock on wood, just to have those opportunities to compete.
Mm-hmm. What about the venues? Are y'all getting to run in any of the historic bowls that have a track in them?
No Rose Bowl for us, as much as I
Oh,
would love to
shucks.
see it happen. But there's a meet at Azusa Pacific University.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Clay, again, a world-class meet. They do some really cool stuff. Uh, the inside railing of the track, they bring in what's called a wave light. Uh, and it's essentially the railing that certifies the track has a pacing light in it. So there'll be some record attempts, and the wave light will try to keep people on those paces through different races throughout that meet. The other 2 meets at Long Beach in consecutive days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the track's awesome. I kind of love their basketball arena. It's right there in the background, the pyramid. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and then, you have the historic Mount Sac relays that have been going on for decades and decades. And in the track and field world, that was probably one of the biggest meets professionally for a long, long time on U.S. soil.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fortunate that a lot of our young men this year have been invited to be in the elite sections on Saturday with some of those professionals.
Ooh.
So again, just try to get out there and run fast.
Okay, so from the days of your youth, which you're still in the middle of, tell me about that invitation into a heat that has professionals in it like that. The first time that happens to you, that's got to be a phenomenal wave of emotion.
Yeah, I mean, our guys are excited. Some of our guys have been in that. Ibrahim spent last summer in Paris at the Olympics. So he likes those moments, put me in those moments. Our relay, our 4x4, we ran well last year. We've run well indoors, and we're fairly confident that we're just kind of waiting to put the right team out there in the right field, and hoping this week is that field for us. And just again, you can choose to be scared, you can choose to be confident, and that usually dictates what happens.
All right. Did they invite our 4x200 team by chance to participate?
I do not believe there's an elite 4x2 this weekend, so I guess our world lead is safe.
Scared them all off.
And I don't know, but they're scared. But
Yeah, I know.
we'll take the title as long as it hangs around.
All right, so we're still the fastest in the world this year.
I'm guessing pin relays may not change. We'll see. So
All right.
relays and Drake relays will be the ones we got to watch out for.
It'll be awesome to see all that all unfolds. Coach, safe travels to you. Good luck with the meet there in Memorial Stadium, and we'll see you soon.
All right, take care.
All right, lines up, everybody. There's more Inside Lion Athletics coming after this break. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Some more of Inside Lion Athletics. It's a full plate this week. Everybody's coming in, and now we get to talk about soccer. Here's head coach Ashley Gordon. Coach, you had such a great fall, but there's no living on accolades, is there?
Yeah, can't live on that. No, we're super excited about the spring season. So I'd love to share with our Lion family what we're doing this spring. But we're super excited. We've started off the spring season playing in March and April. We've played 2 games thus far, and then this past weekend we went to a 7-a-side tournament, which was something that we had never done before and had great success. And then we've got 2 remaining games coming up. So we've had a large or a variety of different games, whether it's opponents that we've competed against that are Division II but have been in Final Four Division II. And then, like I said, played in a 7-a-side tournament this past weekend. And then we have Louisiana Tech coming up this Saturday. And then we also, our last game of the spring, we play Abilene Christian. So we're facing 2 opponents that we've never played from Conference USA and, of course, from the WAC. And, looking to continue to get better and see growth on the field. And that's what we're doing. The women are working very, very hard this spring.
Okay, Coach, my familiarity with changing the number of players on the field was from rugby, when we would go from full side to 7-a-side in the spring and the summer. What I remember about that was there's a lot more running when it's 7-a-side.
No, it was. So we were invited to go to a tournament, which this past weekend there were 8 teams. We put in 2 teams. I wanted to make sure and divide up our roster because at the end of the day, we were looking to gain fitness out of it, which you had just mentioned, and then of course the opportunity for a ton of playing time. So
Yeah.
split the spring roster up into 2 equal teams, and we had one of our teams did advance out of the bracket and ended up coming up short in the final, but we made it to the final. So,
Wow.
and you had talked about in regards to a lot of running. When you look at our numbers, because we wear heart monitors, look at our numbers. The players that competed in the 7-a-side with a minimum of 3 games, it was equivalent to about 6 miles. The players that ended up competing through the semifinal and final ended up clocking 10 miles on a Saturday.
Wow.
So our body was a bit hurting this week. We've had a lot of recovery, but it's equivalent to what you would see in Southland Conference championship match against Stephen F. that we faced this past fall. But we had a blast. It was awesome. It was awesome, and I'm so fortunate that I was allowed to be able to take our team to a spring 7-a-side tournament.
Coach, did they play on?
Schedule in.
Did you play on grass or on turf?
And we played on a beautiful pitch. It was on grass. Thank goodness.
Outstanding. All right. Now, we talked about this more than once back in the fall during your season, and then once you started to head out on the recruiting trails, but that grass pitch means a lot.
It does. Of course, I'm always using that as a recruiting tool. And so, but yeah. And you had just mentioned in regards to recruiting, I would love to tell you we had at mid-year 3 players that came in. We had a goalkeeper that we signed from Oral Roberts, who's a current sophomore. So, playing 2 years of college experience, been able to have depth in that position. And then I was able to bring in 2 additional players. One is a California player that high pedigree in regards to her club soccer background, and again has been a freshman coming in, and then we also have another player. So that was Malaya Ring, and then we brought in a player that transferred from the Raging Cajuns. Her name is Alyssa Cox. So they have been outstanding this spring and have been impactful within our spring roster, already. And then we just signed a player this past week that we've been competing against for the past 3 years. It's a player that is from the North Texas area, and that we were playing against. She was a starting center back for Lamar. And so in her last year of eligibility, I'm excited that she's going to be wearing the Lion uniform. And so great impact, but very, very good player. So we just signed her.
Wow, coach, busy times for you. And then you were talking, we probably can't go on there, but you had something real exciting, but we gotta hold off on that. That's your treat. But coach, talk a little bit about the games ahead. La Tech, ACU, games we've never played those schools before in soccer.
Right, right. No, so very, very excited. So we have Louisiana Tech coming in, like I said, this Saturday, and they've been a contender within Conference USA. Great, great respect for what they've been able to do. We're going to play a home and home series, so we're on the schedule to go play La Tech next spring at their place. Then we finish out the spring season playing against Abilene Christian. And it's great because we have also scheduled fall of 25 and fall of 26 to compete. So we're gonna play a spring match. It'll kind of give us a little bit of insight, but they are going to come and play us at home this fall. And then, like I said, we will return the home series in 26. So it's a great opportunity to be able to see other competition. And of course, we're always trying to schedule games that's going to help us prepare for the fall and for our conference.
Wow, great stuff. All right, coach, tell us a little bit. I mean, I know you're busy, but tell us about the portal from your perspective. It seems like it's a little different with each sport.
It is. Well, for us, you have two windows that players can jump on the portal just with a regular transfer.
Mhm.
If there's a coaching change or a someone's coming in to play a one and done fifth year, then of course you can enter the portal at any time in those two scenarios.
Mhm.
But we've got the next portal window will be May 1 through May 15th. We are still looking to bring in potentially 1 to 3 players. And of course, that's all, whether they're going to impact the roster. I mean,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. So that window opens up for us. It's a heavy, heavy recruiting window, really between now through the end of June. So, and then, right around the corner, we're talking about the end of July. That's when our team will be back on campus. Can't believe you blink and the spring is like gone and you blink
I know.
and fall of 25, we're already going to be competing.
Outstanding stuff. And you may be competing as a full-fledged member of Division One with a shot at the playoffs. What
That
does
would,
your team think about that? We've talked about everybody about, oh, how great, but what do the players think?
you know
How-
what? We don't jinx ourselves. We don't talk about that. We really
Okay.
don't. You know what? Just the players, just they get after it. They know that they've got high expectations. They have high standards. They've got to be able to push each other. And that to me, I think when you have that as a talking point, it's just an
Mhm.
added pressure that the players really don't need. They don't.
Okay.
So we don't talk about it. We just get after it and compete.
Well, then that's the answer.
That's the answer.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. One other thing, and this kind of is, from like a 30,000-foot perspective on the sport. In basketball, I read somewhere recently that they were expecting like 65 coaching changes a year in women's basketball at the Division One level. Is there such kind of turnover in soccer? Do you see that?
You know what, Charlie? It's year to year. It's year to year. I tell you, like over a year ago, there might have been 65 head coaching positions that were open. That's
Wow.
okay. And this year, I mean, you're talking about 30. I mean, half that. So comes in waves. I think it's all, it's dependent on obviously contracts and
Oh, yeah.
movement and the domino that, one domino leads to another domino. So it's different every single year, to tell you the truth.
The reason I asked it comes up because that's one of the ways that students can get in the portal sooner is
Right.
if their coach leaves.
Right.
And so in women's, I mean, look at the Southland Conference women's basketball right now. I think they've had 4 or 5 changes since the end of the year. So stuff happens real
Right.
quick.
Right. Well, and like last year, we had new coaches as well. Going into the fall, it
Hmm.
appears right now that we only have one member within our Southland Conference that has a new head coach. But like I said, it changes every single year across the country.
All
So
right. Tell me how people can watch our Lions go against La Tech and against Abilene Christian. Are
you
those
can,
games televised at all on the Plus?
They are not. They are
Okay.
not. Saturday's game, we're playing at home. Obviously, we have a number of games that's taking place this Saturday.
Busy
Would love.
weekend.
It's a busy weekend. We play at 1 o'clock, so we'd love to be able to have fans, get a sneak peek of what our team's going to look like for the fall. And then next Friday, actually, we're playing at a neutral site. We're playing in Carrollton, and of course, this is on our website. But so we're meeting Abilene Christian in Carrollton. It's great because the majority of our players are from the North Texas area. And of course, when you look
Yeah.
at Abilene Christian's roster, they've got a number of North Texas players. So it'll be listed on our website. But we're playing a 5:30 p.m. match in Carrollton on April 18th.
All right. And the directions how to and where to go and how to get there is in your phone, I'm sure, like everybody else, but
Yes.
where to go will be on the website. Coach, it's great to see you again. You've just
Great.
I've seen you fly by down the hallways, but you were headed somewhere with somebody or to get somebody. So it's good to
Right.
get you back in the rotation.
Very good. Well, we're excited. The team, they're working hard. We would love for, our fans and Line family to come out and support us. And, the women, they love it. They love it.
Outstanding. All right. Good luck this weekend. Have a blast and keep them all healthy.
Very good. Thank
All
you.
right.
All
Lines
right.
up, everybody.
Hands up.
There's Ashley Gordon, the head coach of the women's soccer team. We'll be back with more of Inside Lion Athletics right after this. Hey, everybody, we are back for more Inside Lion Athletics. Charlie Chitwood here, and I've got our good friend and head volleyball coach, Joe Morales. Haven't been able to roll that R in a while, Joe. How you doing? And
I'm good. Listening to that R roll, I'm loving it. It's great. It's going well now. Better. Smile on my face now after that.
that's automatically 2 wins to your your
Yes.
spring record.
Yes.
Hey, tell us how's it going with the Lion volleyball program? Y'all are into a spring season as well that gets you a chance to look at your team that's left and then look at any mid-season or not mid-season, but mid-year transplants. Got
Right.
any?
No,
Tell
we
us.
had we had one come in January, a setter, Haley. She came in. She's been doing some good things right now. I'm excited about that. We've been playing well. We've been playing well. We're in the midst of our end of our season. So, the first portion of spring is just grinding and work and developing their positions and their craft. But now, we've gone into our 20 hours, which we're playing now. So we've already had 2 play dates. The last Friday of March on the 28th, I believe we played at Texas Women's. We played Texas Women's and UTA. So that was good. That was good competition for us. We started off with UTA hot, it's a scrimmage. I mean, I think we played 3 sets. We took 2 up, so theoretically we won, but that was
Yeah.
good. TW is a different story. We played back to back, changing lineups here and there. We played well. I wouldn't say well enough to win. So that kind of caught us off guard a little bit. But it's different. It's different when you play at the Division twos, little lower, little faster versus bigger and higher.
Mm-hmm.
We're training for the bigger and higher, so that's something we looked at a little bit. And then we just came back from Texas State, played Texas State, competed well with them in 3 sets. Didn't get them, but it was a good competition. Played in the arena, that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And we went on and we played St. Edwards, got them in 3. And then we played Angelo State, who by, I mean, Lone Star, Angelo State.
Solid program.
Yeah, they were in the Final Four for Division II last year. So not a scrappy. I mean, they're a pretty good team. And we got them 2-1. So that was a really good weekend for us. So yeah, things are going well. Kids are working hard. The moods are great. I'm not, it's one of the things that we talk about a lot. It's like we're having fun, but I'm not taking my foot off the gas yet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep at them because the expectations next year are high, and we
Mhm.
want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do. I mean, as you know, we're going to be hosting a conference tournament, so the expectations are high, and the standards have to be there as well. So we've been working hard. They've been working really hard, and we have 2 more play dates coming up too. So
How different is the atmosphere and just the way that the play days are operated? How different is that from a genuine game you would play?
It's completely different. I mean, this is it's like I tell the team, I'm not really worried about wins and losses. I'm worried
Mhm.
about how we play. I mean, everybody gets to play. I'm changing lineups. I'm doing things different. If you do this, you may do this. MJ has been playing on the outside a little bit, and she's been a right side player for a while, and she's been holding her own on the outside and passing balls as well. So we're trying to do different things to expand our range a little bit, and it's been great. It's very relaxed. It's very nonchalant, but the competition is fierce, and we're getting after it. And so they're accepting the challenge, and it's been great so far. But it is different. I mean, I wouldn't go that deep in my lineup a lot in the fall, of course. But right now we have that opportunity to do that. We may play 2 or 3 matches in one day, and so you have a lot of time to maneuver things a little bit. We still have this Saturday we'll head to UT Tyler. We'll play UT Tyler. We'll play ETBU, and then we'll play Navarro. And then next Tuesday, the only game we have at home, as you know, due to our facility, but we'll play Tuesday at 6 o'clock against North Texas here.
Mm-hmm.
That would be our last
Very
game.
good.
So,
So,
yeah, it's definitely different.
talk a little bit about the recruiting. Everybody's season's a different part of the school year practically. How's it working for yours, especially with relation to the portal?
Well, the portal will open up in May for us. So we're late.
Okay.
We already had the first window in December. And I was talking to Jared the other day, and he's like, "Man, y'all have 2 windows? Like we only have one." I'm like, "Yeah, we got 2 windows." So we have, I mean, of course, their season transitions into the fall, into the fall into the spring, where ours is fall. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going. So we have 2 windows. So the portal will come up in May, which my staff and myself will be hitting that a little bit, getting after it. And we have a feeling it's going to be big. It's going to be a little bit. A lot of people are going to be getting in, just with how everything is playing out with the roster caps and the legislation.
How about coaching changes? That seems to be a spur to some to go into the portal too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there have been some carousel changes a little bit. It started with John Cook retiring, and the Louisville taking and then it's just your fill-ins, right? So people are
Yeah.
just you got Florida State who left to Marquette, and so now that's coming in, and so that another job is out, it's vacant, and so there's a lot of changes with that, and that's going to be the big brunt of it as well with the portal. So we'll get after that in May. Me and my staff, me and Morgan and my staff have been out since President's Day weekend, and so we've been out looking for some good future. We've been spending a lot of time on 26 class and 27 class, which has
Mm-hmm.
been very good for us. And so we're
That's
looking
kind of
for
like pre-scouting ahead of
yeah,
when you actually go out and recruit them, isn't it?
yeah. Well, in this day and age, I think you have to have that on your radar. You can't be last minute because of how everything is playing out. I mean, you get 25 or you get a transfer kid and you have this many more years, and you got to kind of plug the pieces in, and it's a puzzle, and you got to make it work. And so, we're looking at, okay, how many freshmen are we going to bring in? We're bringing 4 freshmen right now in 25. How many are we going to bring in 26? And so it's been good. We've been excited about it and about the recruiting process, and there's a lot of potential out there, and our brand, our name, the Lionhead, it's getting up there, and so you'll see that on social media a little bit. We're going out to camps in the summer. I mean, someone posted this is a camp we're doing, and you have the Longhorns out there, you have UCLA out there, and then you have the Lions out there. So like we're getting out there, and our name's getting out there, and we're getting a lot of calls that people want to come back to Texas too. That's the other thing about recruiting. Texas, it's a big mecca here of volleyball, and so there's a lot of kids that have left, and now they're like, I want to come back home, and are good enough to play, and so.
Yeah.
I just had a call the other day about a kid that, hey, she wants to come home. What do you think? And so, we're going to do our due diligence and our work and figure that out. But it's been good. The process has been really good for us.
Coach, have you seen the number of talented high school kids that would normally be recruited right into a 4-year program? Are they having a harder time finding scholarships available to them because of the talent pool in the portal?
Yeah, I think it's different than basketball and football. I think high schools still have an opportunity to get to a 4-year school. But I also think it's different on your position. A middle blocker or setter definitely has an opportunity to get into a 4-year school. The positions that are having the most difficulty are the libero or the DSs, right?
Okay.
Those are the ones. I mean, because now you're limited at how many kids you can bring. I mean, we'll have 4 DSs in our roster next year, but now with the roster cap, we got to reapproach that. It's like, is that too many? Do we go down to 3?
Yeah.
That limits those kids. And we all know Texas, right? Land of the smalls, right? So there's a lot of kids out there that are hunting. And I think in our sport, there are kids that can acclimate into a 4-year school. I mean, we got 4 kids coming into a 4-year, into our school next year, all 4 freshmen. And so I don't think I don't think it's difficult to do that. But also it's positional standards too, like how many have. And I think the DSs, the smalls, are taking the brunt of it. I mean, if you're a 6'2" touching this much, you're going to find a home. You're going to find a home for sure.
No doubt about it. All right, well, get us a few more of those, right? If we need them. Maybe we need smalls this year.
Absolutely.
I'll leave it up to you.
No. I'm not going to lie. Like, the smalls are great, and we love them, and they're working hard. 2 of them are right now on our roster are working hard, Kylie and Samaj, trying to fill Jade's shoes, which is probably hard to fill, but they're working hard to get to that level. And but yeah, I mean, we're trying to go big. Like, that's my, I mean, I'm not just trying to get to the. Yes, the conference is important. I'm not going to take anything away from that. And I know we have the window to get to the conference tournament, to get to the NCAA tournament.
Right.
But I'm looking, like, I want to be able to compete against the TCUs, the SMUs, and whatnot. Like, that is my goal. Like, NCAA tournament is my goal, ultimately, or my standard. And so I don't want to just, recruiting philosophy. I don't want to just recruit what's good for our conference. I want to what's good to get us to the next level. And that is the approach I've been taking, and I'm going to keep after it.
Great stuff. All right, Joe, I got time for you to tell us one story. Want to hear about one of your best small town player finds out on the recruiting trail.
Ooh, small town player.
Yeah. Big player in a tiny gym.
Are you talking about a kid that's already on the roster right now?
No. It can be anybody from your coaching career.
Oh, coaching career. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Casey Klobendans was the best find. She was from Bernie.
Okay.
It was funny how I recruited her. I was actually going and I'm watching my sister, who's 10 years younger than me, so she's older already. She was already an adult.
Yeah.
She was playing in an adult tournament at Mission Conception Sports Complex down in San Antonio.
Okay.
I go on a Saturday with my niece and my nephew to go watch her. So I got my niece on one hand and my nephew holding here, and we're going to go watch my sister play volleyball. Well, it just so happened that there was a club team that was in this tournament, and I knew the coach because I knew the coach through collegiate and just volleyball.
Yeah.
so she comes up, she sees me there, and she comes up, and granted, I am not wearing any gear of my university at all. I am there in just in street clothes, just being an uncle, right, and a brother.
Right.
And she comes up and she says, "Joe, oh my gosh, you're here. You have to come look at my setter. You have to come look at my setter." And I'm like, baby on one hand. I'm like, okay, sure, baby, I'm gonna go do that.
We change a diaper here first.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she's like, and I'm like, first of all, why are you in this tournament with your club team? She goes, well, we had a coaching change, and I told the club that we had to get one more tournament before AAU nationals, and this is the only thing we could find, so we're playing in it. I'm like, okay. So I go and watch her, and I'm like, wow, this kid is actually really good. Like, how is she not committed? Played in a small club level, like in just outside San Antonio, Bernie area.
Hmm.
But she was setting, she had hands, and I'm like, man, this kid is she's 5'10", somewhat athletic, and for a setter. And sure enough, D2, I was D2 back then, and you're allowed to talk to him. So I ended up talking to her, and Dad was really excited and like, oh my gosh. And I mean, if it wasn't for me, she told me she wasn't going to play college, but I found her, and she ended up being our starting setter for 4 years at Kingsville when I was there. And
Wow.
at the NCAA tournament once, and was co-setter of the year her freshman year with the WT player.
How about that?
I'm going to a wedding in July.
That's outstanding stuff. Coach, I love stories like that. And I'll bet a lot of other people do as well. Thanks for sharing that one.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, my friend. Well, you got work to do, so we'll let you get back to it.
Hey, it's always good seeing you. I wish you were here in person. You have a good time. All right. Can't wait to see you again, for sure. Go Lions.
All right, my friend. Lions up, everybody. We've got a little bit more. I think that Jim Curry and Brittany Miller are still on the list. We'll see who pops up next when we get back after this.
Sounds good. Take care, my man.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to more Inside Lion Athletics. We've got the man himself, Jim Curry, joining us now. And, man, you've been doing traveling just like your coaches do of late. You got to go down to San Antonio, shucks, and watch the Final Four. Jim, how was the River City without having to be somewhere at any particular instant?
Yeah, it was great. It's that's a great city for that event. I mean, let's just put that out there first. And I think the one thing too, and it's because you've got basically the world of college athletics there at that event, you actually can get a lot of work done too.
Sure.
So you spend really the bulk of the time, connecting, planning. I mean, and it's not just in the basketball space either. It's overall operations. Worked on a little football scheduling while I was there. Reconnected with some folks. Kind of set some planning in place for some visits that we've got this year on the road, or some road games we've got this year. So we met with our folks that are doing the feasibility study with football. So it's as much fun as it is because you're in a great city like San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a life to it of its own. There's a lot of work that gets done there as well, so it's fun. It's a nice mix of work and play.
So how'd it go with the football feasibility people?
I think it was more just a little bit of an update on where they're at. We're going to start planning some meetings here on campus soon, trying to work out some just scheduling and availability there.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of an update on just some things going on here, and then on their end as well. So I would say there wasn't anything too substantive other than to kind of set the stage for the next steps in the process.
Yeah. So the how many steps are there? I mean, it's just a feasibility study at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've necessarily enumerated them all, but we're rounding out some document review. They're doing some things from a market study perspective on their own, pouring over some information we've provided to them. So that's kind of where it's at right now. And then as part of that too, we've got a little bit of some study and some massing that we would do for some potential spaces here on campus and what we could do with those. So I think because we have so many different levers we can pull relative to this, it's one is it's exciting, and I think it gives it more opportunity, but it also does create some additional layers of just evaluation and analysis that you've got to do. So it's a little bit more intricate than maybe your kind of cut and paste, operation there. But I think you have to be thinking about it like that to make some things happen and just be creative in terms of how you create opportunity to make a big project like this happen. So we're trying to really exhaust all the different opportunities that can surround the stadium to make it a go. We need it to be more than just 5 days a year, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like from there, and how do we do that evaluation?
So when they're working through stuff and pecking around, just trying to understand the lay of the land, have they found any surprises that they're like, oh, what this is a really cool opportunity here, or we want to move on from this one to another?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any surprises per se. I think it's all stuff that we, if sometimes it validates some things. Like, for example, if you want to drive events here, well, at some point we're going to need a hotel, right?
Yeah.
Or hotel capacity. So, a little bit of it is a little bit of that affirmation from a formal evaluation perspective, but then, okay, can the surrounding, can hotel capacity around the area validate new hotel coming into space? What's some other building that's going on around you that can impact what you're evaluating? So are there new sports plexes or complexes coming on board? Like, for example, Laterno is going to build an indoor track, right? And so
Laterno
is, yes.
Laterno University in
Longview, Texas, yes. So, you got to stay attentive to what's going on in your footprint and surrounding marketplaces, as well as you do a broader evaluation of opportunity in your own. And so those are the types of things that, and these things get fluid too, right? There's things that maybe weren't coming online that are coming online, or it had some traction and it's fallen off. You start to understand a little bit of just market growth or lack thereof in some instances. That's not the case for us, of course. So it's really this holistic evaluation. And, for us, before we went in and started to kind of program a building or a stadium, we wanted to really understand, before we start to program and design, what are the opportunities there, so that we have an informed programming and design that goes into
Sure. Okay. Very interesting processes. Okay. House talk. We're not talking about how everything with the wife and kids either. Boy, are you tired of the house talk yet?
I'm ready for it to come in for a landing. So for those,
that's the best way I've heard it expressed.
The House settlement, this is all the NCAA class action litigation surrounding antitrust. So it's really, we say House, but it's actually 3 different cases combined into one settlement, but it's more intimately known as the House settlement. But the big fairness hearing on Monday, we knew that was coming. We didn't anticipate a decision by the judge at the time. She actually came out at the very outset of it saying she wouldn't rule from the bench. There was some really interesting dialogue and discussion as part of the hearing. I think generally speaking, do we think there's going to be an approval and an agreement reached? I think generally speaking, yes. Is there a potential for some tweaks to the terms of it? Sure, there's the potential for that, and there's a potential it stays as it's written. But so we're just kind of ready for that to come in for a landing. And actually, I've got some conversations later this week with the system about some of the concepts that we're thinking about to be active in that space, some of the documents that we're developing to be to execute that on our campus. Those are the types of things that we're working on right now to just be responsive and ready for an ultimate approval there. The thing about it is we need the settlement to be approved. We need the state law actually to be updated. And there is a bill in the House right now to do that. So there's all these different pieces surrounding the issue that, in order to actually execute what they're talking about as part of the settlement and NCAA rules, and again, the complicated issue with a lot of layers to it, we need those things to actually come to fruition as well. And they are. So it's one of those where we've just tried to stay very proactive in this space. And I think we've done a good job of that for particularly for a school our size and how we're
Right.
operating that space, and then also coming out of reclass and being expecting to be full member next year. So it's exciting, but it's a lot of work. And the reality is, it's just a complete change in the thinking of how things have operated, in terms of the execution and operationalization of it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, too, and I've said this a few times to some folks, whether it be when we were meeting with some folks at the Final Four or even here on campus, I still think that there's definitely still a place for academic outcomes, and that we have not lost sight of that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Still a place for creating a first class student athlete experience on our campus. And we certainly have not lost sight of that. And I still think there's a place for, and maybe a premium now more than ever, on building relationships with student athletes that are bigger than just the transaction. And I think if you read all these media reports and the frustrations from people on the ground floor of it, understandably they're frustrated because there's another element into this space that you have to be responsive to. But at the same time, too, I still, they're all still people. And, for me, it's one of those where how do we create an environment that we can compete not only in terms of what we offer in terms of direct support to student athletes, but go beyond that to create an affinity and a connection with the university and the athletics department that goes beyond that. At the end of the day, like, I nothing else, I want to make it, if they have an opportunity to go somewhere, I want to make it a hard decision for them. And, and if it's just strictly a transactional relationship that we have with student athletes, then it just becomes who's got the highest number. That's not a great place to be in my mind. We're still working with young people, developing, transforming lives. So, if we can build that connection deeper than just what we provide to them in support, if nothing else, we'll make it hard for them to leave. And I think once you get here, I think Jarrett does a great job of describing this. Everybody that comes to this campus, it never under delivers, right? It always outperforms maybe what your expectations are. And that's a really good way to put it. Because, you get here and you find all those, great intangibles about it that make it special. And at the same time, too, make it a place where you can develop world-class athletes. Because as I reminded the SAC group when I met with them the other day, we are developing world-class athletes here. There's no way to deny that. And
You got the fastest 200-meter relay team in the world.
100%. So I think if we can create great academic outcomes, if we can have a first-class experience, if we can continue to demonstrate that we can develop world-class athletes here and put all of our student athletes in a position to compete for championships, then we'll also do more to provide direct benefits to them. But we'll be able to compete at all levels of what we're doing here, including player retention and recruitment.
Coach, since I got here in 2012 and 13, and ever since, you talk to student athletes, why commerce? Why commerce? And from Division II, when they're just trying to really get it built back up, and then to those high water days, and now in the transition. Every student that has come through, I can't say everyone, but the vast majority of them is like, why commerce? And they all come back, it's about family.
Yeah.
They see that it's an extension of the family and a new part of the family that they get with there. And, there's not 50,000 students like a school in Austin. There's not however many they have down in College Station. You can almost recognize, at least the students that are on campus with you, if you live on campus, you can almost recognize everybody in school, if not know them.
No question. And that's the type of experience that we get to offer students here, not just student athletes, but students generally, and even faculty and staff, right? I mean, there's a connection to the university community, There's a connection to the local community and our surrounding communities as well. And so I just think we get to offer something. I wouldn't say it's unique because other people can do it as well, but not everybody can do it. There's something special about it. And then you also have to decide or evaluate. You get that type of experience or those types of qualities, and then you get to also couple it with growth, investment, and really a championship pedigree that's got 6 national championships and over 110 conference championships, right? So the developing world-class athletes. So there's not a lot of places when you start to get through all that criteria that can hit all the marks. And again, we got work to do. Again, I say it all the time, we can always look for ways to get better. There's things we still got to get better at right now, but the blocking and tackling, if we can do the blocking and tackling really well, the things we just talked about, then not only are we going to be really successful in terms of our outcomes on the playing surface, but we're going to be successful in transforming lives and producing quality academic outcomes.
Jim, I can't think of a better way to let you wrap it up and stay on time.
That's right. Moving to the next one. You can see I got the coat on today. It's one of those days.
I know. I'm sorry for you.
Well, looking forward to having everybody out this weekend. It's going to be a great weekend. Lots going on and beautiful weather on tap.
I know it.
Knock on wood, fingers crossed, but it's been pretty consistent. So
don't forget the sunscreen, pal.
There it is, right?
All right, Jim Curry, our athletic director. He's a busy guy. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to lines up. We got one more to go. Brittany Miller in softball. We'll be back after this. Hey, folks, welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. Charlie Chitwood here. Now we have head coach Brittany Miller to talk about Lion softball. Coach, finally, after a freezing cold 3-day set in Commerce over the weekend, it was a little bit more temperate weather down in Nacogdoches.
Yes, it was a little warmer for us. A little less wind, too.
Indeed, you have the trees there to help cut some of it off. That's why we call it the pine curtain over here, Coach.
Yep.
Hey, it didn't go the Lions' way. You had a few games or a couple of games in each set that were extremely competitive. Talk about how the 2 sets went and what's ahead.
I think overall, the last 6 games, just disappointing with the outcomes. We had some competitive games in there. We had some that were a little of a struggle. But at the end of the day, we just got to stick to our game plan and keep moving forward. We got a big series this weekend. So there's a lot of positives that came out of the last 6 games. We got to keep swinging the bat. Our pitching got to keep people off base, free passes, and keeping the ball off the plate. But other than that, we got to put them all together, pitching, hitting, and defense, and come out this weekend ready to go.
Coach, there are 9 games left, and you've got a 2-game lead plus tiebreaker advantage on both the teams that the Lions have behind them. That would be A&M Corpus and Northwestern State.
Yep.
But it was Northwestern that surprised some people and picked up a couple of wins over the weekend. Instead of being 4 games back, now they're only 2.
Yeah, they're playing well. They swing the bat well. So that doesn't surprise me that they came out and are fighting, and they want to get that spot in conference just like we do. So we just got to take care of our business, and we have enough games ahead of us that if we do our job, then we don't have to worry about anybody else helping us out in order to make it in. So ultimately, we got to come out. We got to keep hitting the ball like we have been the last few weekends, and we'll be okay.
Coach, up at the very top of the Southland standings, Southeastern, gosh, after we played them, we thought they were just going to club everybody. But suddenly they're tied at 14-4 with McNeese Cowgirls, who took 2 out of 3 in Hammond.
Oh, yeah. They got a pitcher, and, they're fast, but they're beatable. I feel like everybody in our conference is beatable on the right day. So I'm not surprised there either.
Talk, if you would, a little about some of the changes you've made in the lineup. You've moved some people up and down the batting order, and it seems to be giving you some results.
Yeah, we put our power up in the top of the lineup, get them some more at bats. Tatum and Stephanie are really swinging the bat well right now. So, give them a couple more at bats, and you can't walk both of them to start off the game. So you got to give them some kind of good pitches, and it's been working. I mean, Tatum came out first pitch and hit a bomb the other day, so it's helpful.
How's Tatum doing? That was they had kind of a rough play at first base in that solo game the other day, or in the second game of the doubleheader on Tuesday.
Yeah, she's good. She'll be fine. She's be ready for this weekend.
Very good. That was such kind of a weird deal. The runner from home plate, and she's leaping up in the air with her arm extended just to come down with the ball. And when her dad said he got her in the hip, I was like, what? How did that happen? But I guess that was where it was the initial point of contact.
Yeah, it was it was weird how she was coming off the base to grab the ball and the girl hit her. And we asked the umpire if she was in the running lane when she was coming through the whole time, and he said she was, so we'll see. But at the end of the day, she's tough. She's ready to go. She was trying to stay on the field, and we're like, well, you need a little bit of rest and we'll move on, get you ready for the next weekend. So she'll be good.
All right, good enough. Coach, we've talked with everybody else about recruiting. You're one that's smack dab in the middle of your season. Recruiting's probably not at the forefront at the moment.
No, we always are recruiting. It seems like there's never a moment we're not recruiting. But we're tracking some kids so that as soon as we're able to get out and we're able to get on the road and start recruiting, that we'll be ready to go. But right now we're focused on being able to get ourselves in the tournament and working that process.
Okay, very good. Well, that's about all there is there. I asked one coach, and you can take this anywhere you want, but recruiting fines, the portal has, I wouldn't say it's replaced high school athletes because they're going to keep coming, but it's kind of cut off their access a little bit. What recruit that you found somewhere that nobody ever would have looked? Everybody's got a story like that.
Yeah, no, we've found some diamonds in the JUCO, but we've also found like Charlie, for instance. We found her in Lubbock. She didn't really play on a top organization travel ball. She was just consistent in high school, and she has panned out really well for us. That at the end of the day, we gotta follow leads that we get, and some of those off the wall teams or places are sometimes where you have to go to find that hidden gem. So we're going to continue to follow those leads as much as possible because it takes a special person to want to come here and build something.
Coach, a player like Anger, when they're out there, do they have to, what percentage of the college recruits right now all played club ball as well as their high school?
Oh, I would say a majority.
Okay.
A majority, unless they're just known somewhere by someone in that, town. She was lucky. She was playing high school ball where there's 2 universities in their town in Lubbock. So, she was able to get seen through those high school ranks where most of them, you're getting them through the travel ball and the travel ball coaches.
How many times have you been driving down the road and all of a sudden you saw the lights on or parking lot full and you said, I'm just going to stop here and watch a game for a few minutes?
Done that a couple times, especially in Texas or when I was in Iowa, because it's just small town feeling.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
All right. Okay. UIW is coming up. It's going to be a huge weekend in Commerce. And y'all part of it. Talk a little bit about the Cardinals. They're up closer to the top than they are to us.
Oh yeah, they got a good team. They have some pitching. They have a couple hitters that are pretty powerful. So again, we got to attack the hitters and we got to make sure that their best doesn't beat us, and we got to play defense behind our pitchers and eliminate those walks, and it'll be good. It'll be a good weekend for us.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck to you. I hate I got to miss them, but it's just one of those weekends I couldn't get away from. UIW and the Lions, first pitch on Friday will be at
5 p.m.
5 o'clock, and then 7:30, whenever the first game allows. And then Saturday's first pitch will be at
Noon.
noon. So there you have it, folks. Lions softball, and they're going to see if they can't get a little bit closer to the Southland Conference Championship tournament. 3 series to go. How did it go by so fast?
I know, it seems like just yesterday we started.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot so much for your time. Good luck, and we'll see you next week. Folks, it's been great having you all aboard again for another edition of Inside Lion Athletics. Come on out to the campus sometime. See what's going on. This weekend's going to be a great one to be there. Come out to Lionville. How's that one? You like that one, Coach? Lionville? I don't know. But today it works. See you, everybody.